Hey, good morning. It is Tuesday, so you know that is meaning that the digital diva is in the house, and we're not going to make you wait. It's the 2022 year in review with marketing coach TJ. So, without further ado, here's TJ.
Hey everybody, welcome to this is not the last show of the year, but we're getting close to the end of 2022. We're wrapping it up. So I took a look back and all the shows, I was like, wow, we did a lot. I didn't even get a chance to write down all of them. I'm just going to reel some of the titles off to you. So we talked about finding your target audience, types of content, the need to develop content, promote versus build. We talked about that was the show we talked about when Twitter was they were talking about Elon Musk buying it, and we talked about what was going on with own media, growth of a small business economy, standing out online, telling your brand story, brand awareness, brand positioning, the power of consistency, the power of storytelling, brand identity, know your numbers, and that's where I stopped. And that was only like 6 months in. So we did a lot of talking. I didn't even know we did that much. There's even more.
Right.
I was like, "Phew, I can't write them all down. But basically we were trying to cover the changes, and that was like the big theme for this year was the changes. So I remember we talked about Facebook, and when the memo came out, I was trying to find the story on the Verge. It's in my notes somewhere, where Facebook decided to change the algorithm feed. That was like one of the big stories, where they changed the algorithm feed from just friends and family to anybody. To You'll see posts from anybody, but it's moving from family, friends and family only posts to topic based interest posts. So everybody remember that one?
Yeah, I do. Hey, Yolanda, good morning.
Hey, Yolanda. So that was like a big change. Instagram also decided to monkey around, mess around with their algorithm, but they're always doing that. But this one that they did over the summer really got people's goat. And they were like, okay, all of these platforms are trying to emulate TikTok, which TikTok is the king of the hill for now.
For now,
For now. And if you watched us over this, fat past year, we talked about TikTok and the possibility of it going away. I won't use the word ban. I'm going to say going away,
hmm
because it might not be banned, but it might go away. So there's a delicate line here where we've talked about it. We were inching slowly to it. I said there's talk of the government looking into it because of ByteDance is the company that owns it. They're in China. It is a foreign owned company. It's not American owned, which makes a big difference because I've seen this argument of, well, Facebook does it. Well, Instagram does it. Well, Snap. Yes, they do. They do. There was a documentary on, I think it was Netflix, about it last year or the year before. It was called The Social, what's the title of that thing? The
uh,
Social Network, The Social Experiment, something social that everybody talked about.
right.
So, yes, Facebook does it. All of them, they all do it. The difference, when you want to get technical, because I will, the difference is those are American owned companies or American friendly companies. China's not. China's never been our friend. It's not our ally. It's always been the enemy. So you want to talk about politics just for a little bit. Like, if you look at every world war, and I thought about this because I like history. So there was a thing, I think it was World War II, where they had the Tokyo Rose
Oh
lady.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're
Okay, so if you don't know, and I should have Googled it, but I'm just going off of memory. She
or
was
was she in the Korean? Anyway, she was in the
Korean
war.
War, one of the wars, one of
She
the
was
big
in the
ones.
war.
And she would get on the radio and talk about talking down America and telling secrets and telling where the this was and the that was, because war is one against the other and getting positioning and information. So they called it propaganda. So she was like the queen of propaganda to turn the tide of their citizens against us, them versus us. So back in the day, they would do it over the radio. That was the way they communicated back then. In World War II, the 40s was the radio, right?
Yep.
So, and like Fran said, you could talk about any war. They probably had one: Korean War, Vietnam War, da 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 da. Propaganda, where is information, them, information, us, and they, you try to have that war. Propaganda war is what it's called. Now, fast forward to today, how do they do that thing that the Tokyo Rose lady did, where she was trying to turn their citizens against, don't pay attention, bad Americans, all of that stuff. What do they do today in the age of social media? They don't do that.
Oh,
There's no,
because radio does not work for regular stuff, so they're
you
not
know, you
going to use regular. They're not going to use radio.
so remember back then, radio was the TV. And Gary has a quote. He says, radio, television and the radio, and that what he's saying is the mode of communication for that time era, the biggest way that information was disseminated in the world was radio. There was no TV in 1944. Well, they were working on it, but it wasn't in every home. And we're talking, and this is Dr. Tashi's thing. I wish she was here. She's probably gonna come in. Mass communication, one to many.
Yeah, and that mass communication had one. It was one major thing, and that was the radio.
Right. In that time era. So that's why I say I like to look at history and study history, because history repeats itself. You heard that saying, history repeats itself. So what's happening now is it's not the old way, but it's still propaganda. It's still us versus them. In the Cold War with Russia, they were our enemy. They still are, but things have melted kind of, and now they're back to where it was with
Okay,
Reagan
but
Reagan era.
it's a little weird, but
Yeah, it cause remember the Berlin Wall. Remember the Berlin Wall came down. Remember East Germany, West Germany was divided, and all that stuff. So I mean, it sounds like, oh, what are you talking about? But you have to look at how people communicate and what's going on. So right now, it's like it's always us versus them. So now it's social media apps. It's social media apps.
and there's Dr. Tachi.
Hi, Dr. Tachi. Yeah, so the mass communication, and I know she can speak on it because this is her area of expertise, is that it was like you get your message out to as many people as you can. In World War II, it was Tokyo Rose getting on the radio saying America's bad, and they would drop pamphlets and
Leaflets.
leaflets
Yeah.
on the Chinese people, saying that Americans want to come and eat your baby. I'm making this up, but Americans want to come and eat your babies and change your way of your life. So if they're driving that message over there, what Chinese citizen is going to say, oh, well, yeah, I like the sound of that, America. So it's propaganda, but for 2022. And I hope Dr. Tachi understand what I'm saying. Because I'm saying that with TikTok, because it is a China-owned company, it's not a democratic society. So they have to follow the rules of the leader. And the leader says all all companies must report their data, what they're doing and this and that to us, the Chinese government. That's kind of how it goes. And they have no recourse. They can't say, "Oh no, we're not giving you the data. We're
No,
not."
no,
They have to comply.
yes, Dr. Tachi says indeed.
Yes, and I know
Uh,
she could speak much more on this. I'm just giving you like a basic, because I brought up if she didn't hear, I brought up the Tokyo Rose propaganda war during World War II, and every war has had propaganda where it's us versus them, dropping information on the other side. So basically, that's what's going on with TikTok now. Oh, I had a video to show you. I clipped it from another person I follow on YouTube, and he was talking about TikTok And basically, I'm just gonna tell you. I'm gonna put the clip up later. I saved it somewhere. He was going through the whole TikTok thing like we are, and he was saying that Joe Rogan, which I'm not a fan of, I'm just bringing up that he read the terms of service for the TikTok app over his podcast, and the things that they gather would make your hairs turn gray. And it's not about privacy, it's more about they record your keystrokes. They can the app can spy on your phone. Like,
Okay. And so this is TikTok as of this TikTok of today that is on most of our phones here.
yes, this
Okay,
TikTok.
so
And we've talked about it. I think I mentioned that one of the Friday shows that there's some kind of JavaScript code or something that would record your keystroke when you use the in-app browser. I think I brought that up.
yeah, you did. But this is now to the point where if you're copying my keystrokes, I'm turning off the app. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Or
So
use it on a burner phone. But the
yes.
point is, I'm not.
So I think people really don't understand what it can do. It's not about your name, address, phone number. It's about geo tracking. We brought that up, that they were doing geo tracking, and then on their side, TikTok says, "Oh no, we're not doing any of that," but they do. So if the company, the app is being in the middle of an investigation by our government, they are looking at the national security risk of having this phone on people in
On their
America and their phones.
devices.
Right.
So
So and the news that came out last week was that they banned it. Well, it was banned on government devices, yes, but starting January with the new Congress, this is their top thing that they're going to look at. And it's not just about I see the argument on Twitter that, oh, you're not telling the whole story. It's this banned on government devices. Yes, it should be. But they're looking at banning it as a whole. And when I say ban, I mean you go to the app store, it won't be there. That's a ban.
yeah, and so okay, so I'm gonna go in this direction. Do we need to wait for the government to ban it?
I'm not.
Okay, all right. So I don't know a whole lot about Joe Rogan except for when
Me
I
either.
saw him on news radio. That is about all I know about him. However, if somebody took the time and went through the terms of service,
That agreement that you sign when you download the app and you set up an account.
and there was some hair-raising things, and unfortunately most people do not read the terms of service.
No,
They
they
just
don't.
want whatever
I
the app
didn't.
says it's going to do, and they just click through. And okay, so if you decide to click through, and if it can record your keystroke among other things, then when you go to your banking app and you
Yes.
start clicking click keystrokes to get into your banking account, they are
Mhm.
now looking at your keystrokes for that
Yes.
or any other sensitive thing
That's
that you're doing.
that's exactly it. Now remember, I was leery of WhatsApp. Remember, I told that story I found about the Israeli. They had an Israeli. I don't know if it was the government, but it was the Israeli hacking something that
Mhm.
they could hack your phone through WhatsApp without you even opening the app. That means it resides on your phone as an app, and you go, "Well, I have TikTok. I don't use it." Doesn't matter. It's on your phone. They have things
So,
that they can track your keystrokes, your um, other things. So
and that's why I didn't want to use Bitmoji
right.
with Snapchat because it was doing the same thing. I'm like, I'm not giving you access to my keyboard and my keystrokes. You are out of your mind. So,
Okay, I found it. Let me play it now because I clipped it. It's from Valuetainment channel, and this guy he's a little like, if you know Grant Cardone, He's a little like aggressive like that, but I listen because he has podcasts where he presents both sides of a story, and I like to hear that. But he's not. This is not somebody I'm enamored of. But I just for information. So he had a video called What's the big deal about TikTok uh invading your privacy, destroying America is the title that he has because it's sensational.
Of
But
course.
I clipped it's like 46 seconds. Let me see if I can play it and we can hear it. Hold on. Oh shoot. I lost it. Let me start over. So I heard this. I was, I'm listening because I'm doing other things. So I'm listening. And when somebody says when something is said within the video or the podcast, I go, what was that? So I had to
Mhm.
back it up and I clipped it and I said, I gotta use this, but it's in my clips because you can clip other people's YouTube videos, but Facebook puts it someplace weird that I couldn't find it. So let me see. I'm gonna play it. I would cue it up on my YouTube, but I can't find it.
People are saying, wait a minute, is that really on the terms and service? Yes. It is said we collect information about the device you use to access the platform, such as your IP address, your region, and user agent, mobile carrier, time zone settings, identifiers for advertising purposes, model of your service device, your device system, networks. He says, are you kidding me? They really track the way you move your finger. They track the way your keystrokes, which means they're trying to find out everything about everything you're doing. This is an app that's eventually going to get banned. It's banned already in Indonesia, in Bangladesh. India banned TikTok. It's banned in Syria for different reasons. It's banned in many different places. And very soon it's going to be banned in America because they are manipulating the way you are receiving content. It's just a matter of time. People are saying, wait a
Okay,
minute, is
so
that really on
it's
the
gonna
terms and
repeat.
service? Yes.
So that's what he said. He talked really fast, this guy. But he was saying a whole bunch because what happened was he had the clip of the video of Joe Rogan actually reading, like looking at his phone and reading the terms of service. And then this guy is doing a recap of like some of the things that he's saying. So it was keystrokes, the way your finger moves, the way your eye moves, and apps can track that. That can be tracked on a desktop also for a
Mhm.
website. If you're a website owner, you can get this software that will track how people read your web page, what they look at. It's called hotspots. That gives you an idea of like where they look and do they look to the left, do they look so an app can do the same thing. Now the argument is that well Facebook does it and Instagram. Yes, they do. But those are American companies. So we can kind of hold their feet to the fire. Can you hold TikTok's feet to the fire? Absolutely not, because they're not American owned. That's the difference. Now, and people go like, oh, well, you're splitting hairs. But I'm like, okay, we should look at all of it. Yes. But what's the number one to look at?
TikTok.
Yes.
And it see, I don't think it would be an issue if it were if they were American owned, like you said, and that we can clamp down on some stuff. Now, when the government just said don't put nothing on their devices,
I'm listening.
there is a red flag there. And um, okay, I'm gonna go here. 45 might have had it right. May not have.
He's a broken clock that's right twice a day.
And okay, he was right on this one, and but nobody wanted to hear it because of the way he was delivering stuff. So
Yes.
but when something is right, when the information is right or the information is good, it doesn't really matter who brought the information. You need to listen.
Right. And when I remember we talked about TikTok when he was in office and all of the things, it was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But now you have to, that's what I'm saying. That's what I brought up about the propaganda wars back in the day, the mass communication. What was the mass communication mode of the day? Radio, and then it was TV, now it's social media. So, but you're gonna have people that don't care about that kind of thing. Gen
Right.
Z won't care, but what do we do? And like I said, my advice was like to, use it. We said use it on a burner phone where you don't have a phone that, you has your financial information on it. And then when it's gone, it's gone. Because the thing about TikTok is getting the attention. That's why I say use it. Get the attention to draw them to your house. And we said this all year. I was listening some of the videos, and everything we were saying was draw them to your own house. Don't build on rented land. Owned media, a place you pay for, your house that you use this as mass communication, one to many, get their attention and saying, hey, you want, a fix for your problem, or you want to talk about this issue or whatever, come on over here. The call to action to go to your thing, whether it's Mighty Networks, your website, your email list, but something that you pay for, Kajabi, ConvertKit, all of those things that you pay for, because you have a better platform, or you have ground to stand on to
Yeah.
say, hey, I'm paying you for this, do that, fix this, fix that. Can you do that with Facebook? No, because we don't pay. Can you do that with Instagram? No, we don't pay. So you hear a lot of creators, and I understand, but you hear them, the influencers, talking about, well, Instagram, well, you have no control over what they do. So it's best to use those sites when they have something hot, like Reels. Reels is really hot. Use that, get the attention, draw them to your land, to your house.
Right.
I'm having a Tupperware party over here. It's not on Clubhouse. It's not on Facebook. It's not on Instagram. That's the conduit to getting the attention. Like,
And here is the thing you have been saying since we've been since we've been online. You need to have whatever value you have to bring. Because nobody's going to come follow you to the new spot if where you are right now is trash. You don't have nothing to say. You are not bringing any value, or you're copying somebody else. They're not coming.
Exactly.
They're not going to go. But
it's really simple.
If you bring the value, they will come. Well, there's a post.
And this is a thing I'm going to start talking more about next year, and because we talked about it, and I listed all the shows. I listed some of the shows. Some of the shows I was like, okay, I gotta stop listing it. So many shows. I think what we did, like 50.
We normally do about 50.
Yeah, about
because we don't take too many days off.
That's
so
a
it's
lot of information.
Right.
So I was just the thing that was on repeat was, okay, don't build on rented land. These apps are, you're not paying for them. You're the guinea pig. They're not going to do what you want to do. How do you control something? It's owned media where you pay for it. And the hard part, this is where everybody, they don't want to do the work. The hard part is I got to go on social media. Well, you don't have to. Let me say, you don't have to do any of this. I hear business owners, I'm not using social media. Good for you. But why wouldn't you use a tool that's super red hot? Like I said, the mass communication tool of the century, to get attention and say, hey, look, I got this over here, but come on over here and let's talk some more about it where there's not noise and distraction. Who doesn't want to do that? But I'm like, go ahead, do you. But if there are free tools, and Facebook is free, and I'm going to use it, but I'm going to complain, but I'm going to use it until the wheels fall off. TikTok, I'm going to use it until they ban it, but I'm going to be careful.
Right. So,
cautious.
And Dr. Tachi has a comment here. She says, if these companies are fighting using social media company, that also indicates that they have an old-fashioned approach to the workplace. Their employees and the way they sell things.
Yes, so, I agree. And you're right. And like I said, I'm in a lot of business groups and Facebook, and I see that Dr. Tachi all the time. Oh, I don't need to use Facebook. Because I get my word of mouth and this. I'm like, that's great. Continue to listen to the radio while we're in 2022, 2023, getting everything on our phone. You're in the horse and buggy, and we're on not Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos's thing, going to the moon, Blue Origin or whatever it's called.
I don't know, but it's some spaceship. So
Yeah,
people really, you have to move with the shift
you have to move
in
with the times.
yeah, and follow. How is attention being
Mhm,
attracted?
mhm, mhm,
It is
mhm.
not being yellow pages are no longer a thing. Matter of fact, I don't even think I got my little. You
Oh.
know how they normally do these little
Yeah,
yellow
yeah,
pages.
the little they were big and then they turned into these little thin
Well, I didn't get
things.
one this year. I don't think I got one. I'll see in January if I get another one. But because I was like, don't bring that here because I'm going to throw it in the
'Cause we
recycle bin.
and then here in New York with stacks and stack, it was really big, like that big. And every year they would throw them in the mailroom. Like, oh, there's the yellow pages. Dr. Taji says exactly. Keep using the telegraph and Morse code if you like. Yes, this is America. You're free to do whatever you like. Nobody's forcing you, boo. Nobody but me. I'm gonna get on the super highway and you can stay over on the dirt road with the horse and the buggy. Nobody's forcing you. So this is the thing, as a business owner, you want to use the tool that gets you the most bang for the buck, that gets you the most attention. It used to be radio ads. Radio ads used to be the thing. Are they the thing now? Well, I mean,
No.
if you're a local business and you know that your people listen to the local radio or whatever, or because we've got XM, not XM, Sirius XM, and all that. Is it terrestrial radio? I forgot what it's called. I
We
think
have,
it's terrestrial.
but people have to. That's more on a national. It's almost like
Hmm.
social radio because
Hmm.
it's not knit. You know what I mean? Like
Right. And see, you have to know what, first of all, I said this, you have to know what your goal is for
right,
being online as a business, not
right,
personal, to talk your friends and family as a business. It's to get attention so you can
right.
get more eyeballs to talk about the products and services that you offer that meets the needs of an audience. Where in 2022 would you do that? TV ads? Too expensive. You can do them, but they're too expensive. We're talking about the cost ratio to return on investment. Your lowest cost, greatest return on investment is social media. I'm just going to put it out there like that. And plenty of people say that, but there's some people out there that don't want to use it or don't see the value. And I'm like, okay, great, great, but don't cry when we're in the metaverse. And I said this also. What you're doing now, you got to push people to the metaverse, the new thing, whatever we're calling it, the metaverse, whatever you want to call, whatever it's going to be called. But there's a new frontier, so you got to be ready to gather the people that you have now who want to hear what you have to say, your messaging, and saying, hey, we're here for now on this land that I own, but whatever's coming, we're going to the moon. Say we're going to the moon, we're going to colonize the moon. Well, come on over. You've got your people and you can go over there, and you don't start at zero. And
Right.
for some reason, there's a thing about starting at zero. Like, that's bad. No, that's good.
And see, because you can, when you start at zero, you can talk to those people who get you. You can interact with them. You can have conversations with them. Doctor.
Todd just says, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. And if you don't know that, that's a reference to the Temptation movie, which is a great movie that we watch over and over. And, it's one of those movies where we have quotes that come through, and love it. I love it. So, I mean, that was one of the big things this year, was the change in algorithm. Facebook said that they were making a change to follow TikTok. Snapchat was following TikTok. Instagram is following TikTok. And they made their, some of their users angry. But I'm saying, you're on the boat. You don't get to drive it. You're in the boat. So use that time to build your audience, build your email list, do this, do that, get the eyeballs. Because when TikTok is no longer here, and you got, I'm on TikTok 3 times a day and I'm making 10,000, whatever you're making a month off of TikTok. And when TikTok is gone, what will you do?
So, with that thought in mind, maybe it was a good idea for everybody to copy TikTok because when TikTok goes down, at least you'll still have the same motions and things. You'll be familiar when you're back, when you have to go back to Instagram or when you have to go to Snapchat, or who's the other one that's,
or Facebook or
or Facebook,
YouTube or Instagram or
or
here's
whoever.
here's a name that you haven't heard in a while. Tumblr. That's
Right.
coming back.
Somebody did something on Tumblr. I was like, ooh,
It's
Tumblr.
coming back. Who would have thought? We thought Tumblr was dead because I think maybe 10 I'm maybe 10 or more years ago, Yahoo bought them for some insane amount of money, and then it went down to like the valuation went down to like nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, what did you do before TikTok? I want to ask those people who are going to, tear their hair out. And I mean, I understand, but you got to have a strategy. That's why I say you have a strategy.
Oh, you need a backup plan?
When things fall down, what stands?
Right. And if the street is closed and you can no longer go that way, you're going to need to take a detour. Where are you going to go?
We talked about this time and time again. You don't put your eggs in one basket. You have a strategy, but because there will always be a mode of mass communication. That's why I brought up the radio and the World War II and the development of the television in everyone's home in the 50s, and how that revolutionized communications and messaging. That is the core of what you're doing with social media. And Dr. Tati said this the other day when she was on you were on Dr. Vibe show. Excellent show, by the way. You guys got to watch it. And I think she put on her social media where to find it. And she was saying, "Oh, I just lost the thought that you were saying about She said something really good about. Oh, she said social media is media. Social media, it's media. It's not social. That's the social part of it, what we call it, but it's media.
It's media.
And we've had media for go back to parchment scrolls and what they wrote the Bible on. And
media is the means of communication. How I say something to someone else is media. Okay, so right now, in order for me to say something, we are using this platform right here. It is going out on several platforms that carry the message, that can carry the media.
Right.
Streaming is a media, books are a media,
yes,
newsletters. Okay, here is
Dr. Tati says, yes, anything that is an extension of your senses that gives a message from one to many is media. Yes. And she explained it. If you go watch it was on the Dr. Vibe show, I think it was yesterday. And it's a good conversation.
And Khalid says, if you haven't already gotten your company on the social media train, it's time to get on board.
Hi, Khalid. Yeah, that's a good point. I love that you said that. Thank you. It's not too late. It's not too late. You can still do it.
And here's the thing about TikTok. If you haven't been on TikTok, you don't have to start.
No, you don't have to start. You don't have to start. But let's keep in mind that the rumblings, when I hear rumblings and then the government is involved where they're saying it's banned on government devices, it's a matter of time, is what I'm telling you. I don't know if it's a year or less than a year or more than a year. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. And I say this with the government because I was worked inside of the government as a contractor, so I know how their inner workings are. So as much as I could, know, because I did. Fun fact: I had a secret clearance for the government, so I don't have it anymore, but I had it. So there's some things that I know. I don't know it all, but I know some of it. So if that's it's a good indicator of this is where the boat is rocking. If they banned it on all their devices and no one can use it. So and I hate to say the word ban because then that gets a mob angry. That gets a mob group of people. Well, we're going to go after, because everything's political now. So we're going to go after this group and we're going to it's going to be removed by the companies that allow you to have access to an app. I'll say that.
And
I like that better than ban, because it sounds like the government is suppressing my free speech.
well, no. And here's the thing: it's both sides of the aisle that said no, not
Yeah,
just one.
it's both. It's not one. It's a bipartisan, which means both parties. Dr. Taji says yes. Okay, yesterday morning. So go and watch that. It's a good, great show. Um, she said, needless to say, I would not bet my entire social media strategy on the future of TikTok. I wouldn't either. But there are people that are in love with it, and they've gotten used to the dopamine hit of getting all of these views. Which I'm going to tell you, when you see, I got the 500 million views. That's like they didn't watch it. That's a swipe.
Somebody just slipped or
3 second, a one, because Facebook does a 1 second view and a 3 second view and a 3 minute. When you look at your video analytics, if you own a business page and they show you your video analytics, they
and
break it down by that, because that 30-second, 1 second view is when they see your post in the feed, and they go, oh, or they go, oh, and watch it for a minute, or they tap it and watch some of it.
right.
Same thing with YouTube. YouTube has a thing where they break down, but I don't want to get too technical about it. But that's a dopamine hit of, look how many views I got, and I'm like, great.
How
Your
many converted to
yes, your
a
conversion.
sale?
Your strategy is to get sales. Where are the sales? Oh well.
And I
I'm
mean,
just
it's
saying,
nice to have the eyeballs on it or scan through it
the
or whatever,
dopamine
but if
hit.
nobody stopped and bought whatever it is, or nobody stopped and signed up,
Did they follow through? The follow through. Did they do the call to action that you have your link in bio, where you're setting up the I call it the customer journey? Are they coming with you along the journey to your house?
and we go back to the cookie scenarios, were your cookies good enough for them to follow you to the kitchen
Yeah, and
to see how you made them?
I know we want it easy. I want it. Yeah, who doesn't want like 500,000 views on a reel, or this or that, or 10K on a? Those are great numbers and they look good, but that's an influencer track. I always bring it up. That's the influencer track, and that's good for them because they take those views to a brand, a corporation, and say, hey, look how many people I got looking at my reels. Give me a deal to promote your product or service. And they go, okay, yeah. And the thing is, I'll say, because I don't want to talk about recession, but that might happen next year. So when a recession hits, spending goes way down for consumers and corporations. So they'll cut back on their marketing budget, which means they won't have as much money to give the influencer for that brand sponsorship. That will go down, and you have to. These things are said to prepare you for what's coming.
And so TJ just did an excellent job preparing us for the fact that TikTok may not be here next year.
I think we talked about it all year. I think.
Yeah, because we were wondering when the other shoe was going to drop, because we were it was probably January last year.
Yeah, I gotta look. Like I said, we did a lot of talking. I was like, wow. But I try to drop the breadcrumbs of what I think. These are my opinions based on what I know and what I've been through and worked in this and that. And I can tell you, when the government bans something in-house, if it's just strictly a government thing, US government, federal government, they will ban it in-house and that's it. But now we're talking about something that is, national security, all America, not all Americans, a lot of people use it, and it's an app that people use. So it's like one of those things. I'm not saying that I wish it to go away, but it's just that if it was an American owned company, we wouldn't be talking about it like this. We would be talking about, oh, this is a strategy, use it and say this and do that, and everything's good. So as far as it is an American owned company versus one that's owned by
are
So,
enemies.
right. And like I said, I brought up the old propaganda story, and it's the same thing today. So instead of them dropping leaflets and getting on the radio, they're going, "Oh, let's get the let's get the American teenagers hooked on this thing." And da, 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 da. And I've heard another story that I have to look at, that is it it's called Douyin. It's not called TikTok in China. I think it's called Douyin. Is the same app. They don't feed their kids what our kids like dancing and stuff. They do educational stuff to them. They don't feed, and I've got to investigate. I just was, something that caught my eye while I was on Twitter, that their feed of what they feed teenagers and kids over there is different from what our algorithm gives over here. I don't know if they're doing that on purpose. I'm just saying that there's a, we have to keep that all of that in mind. We have to keep that all in mind. And again, what do we do? What do we do? Do we not use it? That's an option. Do we use it cautiously? Cautiously, that's an option. Do you delete it completely? That's an option. All of those are good. So you have to decide. My main objective is to grow my business using the not the the popular thing or the most bang for my buck, the ROI of low cost, great return is social media. Even not even talking about ads, I'm just talking about organically. You just posting and building an audience the slow way, or you get on the highway and use the ads. But this is where we are. 2023 is going to be really interesting.
You just said something, because you can still get eyeballs on doing it through social media like TikTok and YouTube and everything. You can do those things. However, you can also pay for it.
Yeah, you
But
can
most
run
people
ads
don't.
on TikTok, and it's not expensive.
No, not even TikTok. To
Right.
do the same things to get the amount of attention that you can from the social media platforms, yeah, you can go to TV and radio and they'll take your money.
Right. You could and locally you might want to do those things. Direct mail still works. There's some local, I've heard that, local businesses that they do that and it works for them because they're not looking at a global audience. They want, Mrs. Fields from the corner down the block to know
Right.
about my business, my service, and that works fine. But also Mrs. Fields, whatever her name is, she's on Instagram too. And
Right.
don't say, oh, well, she's not a teenager. Well, she might be 60, 70, 80 on Instagram. And there's things in Instagram that you tap on and look at that a local business can use. So you have to, it's
Right.
all about the strategy is what I'm trying to say. So,
And you probably need help with your strategy if you're getting started. So I'm going to recommend TJ. If you're just getting started with your social media, like Khalid just said, if you're not on the social media train, it's time to get on board. But you're going to need some help. You're going to need a conductor. You're going to need somebody to help pave the way, and TJ can help you do that. So,
and the reason why I talk about this is because, and I brought this up before, that this old information on Google. If you say, well, I can just Google it myself, you can. But there's old strategies, stuff from 2010, pre-pandemic, that's not going to work. Why? Because the algorithms change. We just talked about Facebook changing this year. Everybody's chasing that TikTok algorithm, and then next year it might be something else. It might be another app. Be Real is one of those apps that we talked about that people are using, and things change. So you have to keep current with the changes in the use of the apps and the strategy. And the best way to do that is to come here to Bizchicks or to follow me, Terry Johnson online. I'm everywhere. So
everywhere.
or you can follow someone else. You don't have to follow me. I'm not saying you have to follow me. I'm just saying that you have to keep up with the changes, and that's hard to do when you're doing other things. You're living your life, you're running your business. You have social community functions, this, that, family obligation. You got all kind of things going on. We're bombarded by information. If you haven't noticed that.
And then so you got to pick a voice or a couple of voices that you can come in and get the information and take the information and go use it, and then come back for the next latest information, go use it. But you got to have a safe place to get your water. You know how the horse used to go to the
trough,
the trough, or you got to find a safe water.
You got to find a clean oasis.
Right. You got to find a place where there's not a bunch
of where they can fan you and give you dates. Right. Dates as in the, ones you eat, not the dates. Somebody might be looking for a date. But I mean, that Facebook was one, and then Twitter, we didn't bring up Twitter real quick. That what's going on with Twitter. It was bought. It's a private entity now, and that person is doing whatever they want to do with it. The latest is running a poll to say, should I step down as CEO? And I think it was up 57% said yes. So, and he said he would abide by the results. So he's saying that if people say he should step down, he will. I don't know. I mean, again, that's a media circus. And Dr. Tati talked about this on the Dr. Vibe show. Very, very good take on it. They brought in Kanye also, So those are things that are those types of people, they have to be, I don't want to say clownish, but they have to be larger than life and say, hey, look at me, and get attention. So
here's the thing on my little thing, based on what I've learned here, because I do watch what you say. I curate my feed. I don't hear the whole hoopla, the dog and pony show. I don't hear all of that.
And see, that's good. But see, what it is that 90% of the world doesn't do that.
Okay, and that's the same 90%.
Maybe more than 90%. There's a lot of people that don't, and we're getting into the topic where they want to blame and sue the social media companies. And I said, yeah, you can, because it's America, you can do that, but there's some personal responsibility in there.
That right, you have to your stuff. You didn't,
especially if you're a parent, you have to. You don't put the phone in the kid's hand and just go at it. No, that's like, do you give them a live grenade? I don't. I go, what are you looking at? What is this? What is that? What's going on? Let me see. Da da da. This isn't real. That isn't real. Investigate. Ask questions. Look it up. Make a decision. And a lot of people aren't doing that. So
okay, wait. They don't read the terms of service. So how are they going to
service? And I understand being you're a parent, you got to work, you got to do this and that. It's hard, but we got to make room. Maybe something in your life needs to go away that's not really important, and you make room for what's important.
Right.
That's just how I see it. And I know a lot of people don't see it as we do, like with curating the feed. You have to go in and say, who am I going to follow? What do I feed myself that is? And we have a saying in IT, garbage in, garbage out. What you put garbage in, garbage comes out. You don't put garbage in and okay, a diamond comes out. No, the horrible stuff comes out, because that's what you're feeding yourself and your brain and your life. And so it's a big topic.
Right, because you can get garbage on all the platforms. If you're gonna hang out in the garbage,
you can get garbage in when you watch your TV, when you turn on and get the news.
Because you decided what channel to check into.
Some of the channels that were trusted news outlets are now changing their tune to do other things, and it's so subtle you might not notice it. So it's about being aware. I won't say that. It seems like woke is such a negative word now. Just say be aware. Be aware.
It's really interesting that you have to decide your life.
That's why we have these little that's why we have Black Twitter, Irish Twitter, different Twitters. And then another, I keep bringing up Dr. Tati being on Dr. Vibe, because that was a question, like, what is Black Twitter? And then the way it was explained. But it's just, if you're not, if you're paying attention to the things that you like, and you get that. And that's why I mentioned like G plus a while back, Google Plus. That was the thing that it gave you what you focused on. So if you focused on positive things, that's what was in your feed. So we're in that era where you have to curate your feed. You have to decide what you're going to plant and what you expect to grow, as a society and as a business
Yeah, we don't
and
have
as
to
people.
walk. You don't have to walk down the dark alleys by
No,
yourself.
no, but I just hate to see if we go to a place where, it's you're looked down on because you feel like this about a community or that about a community, and things are happening. But I don't know, just be positive or keep a positive outlook.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
this.
So, and the
Be
conversation is good. So, like I said,
right.
I follow this guy Valuetainment on YouTube, and I'm not aligned with his political beliefs, and he says some things, but I like the fact that he's putting both sides of the story so you can hear the facts. I like facts, and then you can decide what you want to do with the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the last couple of years, the facts have not had a good run where people go, okay, those are the facts, and da da da. And I don't know. So, all right. So that was some of the stuff for the year. Like I said, we talked about a lot of things, but I think that Facebook, Instagram, chasing after TikTok, and then the Twitter kerfluffle or whatever you want to call it, that's still happening. Those are the two biggest things from the year. But I like to look at it as a positive note of, okay, like Khalid said, you can always do it. Is it's never too late. It takes work, and I think that's what keeps people from trying to do it. Is that I have to start at zero. I have to. When you want a garden, where do you start?
You get to the dirt
The
and figure out.
ground is hard.
Yes, you got to soften it up. You got to work a little harder. You're going to sweat. It's going to be a mess for a minute, but
Yeah.
eventually the garden will come out. And if you have if you hire a landscaper that can
Mm-hmm.
help you,
That makes it
then it's going to be a little
easier.
easier.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we need to, emphasize that the ground is hard, but when you put that work in and keep going and persevere and do what you got to do, and the things, the goal that you want will happen. And
Yes.
we're not making that up. That's just in life with anything that you do. You set the plan and you work it and keep going, and there's a setback, but you keep going, and then, eventually you get there. So
Right.
keep going.
Oh, keep going.
Keep
You
going.
heard it right here. Keep going. You're going to get there.
Yeah, that's gonna be the theme for 2023. Keep going, because we've had the last 2 years of so keep going.
You cannot sit down and just like, I'm not doing anything anymore. I'm just going to sit here. Life will grow over you if you just sit there. So you
Right.
keep
And
going.
remember now, there's talk of putting masks back on, and there's the triple demic of flu and this and that. So that's why it feels like, oh, when is it gonna be over? But we have to keep going, keep rolling, keep going.
Keep going.
And we're gonna help you keep going. We're gonna,
Yes.
keep it here where you're gonna get the news you need, the information you need, the strategy, the motivation. I guess we did a little motivation today.
Yeah,
I
but
hope.
it was information, it's motivation. You can keep going. You
Yeah,
have the right information because we will go out and find the information so that you don't have to dig through the hole. You don't have to swim
yeah.
through the
You
ocean
gotta swim
to
through all that
find
ocean.
it.
Yeah, and there's a lot. There's just too much for even for me. I know Dr. Taji too with media, but it's just like I said. I will listen to things and read things, and if it catches my eye and it's like ding, I'm like, okay, that's something. So that's what I rely on. I'm like, I got a lot of stuff coming in every day, and I'm like, okay, that's important. Let's talk about that, or that might be something. So that's how I decide. But
Yep.
there you go.
So
So,
thank you for tuning in today. We'll be back here next Tuesday. TJ will be bringing us. Okay, will we be in the new year?
No,
Oh no,
I
it'll
think
be
we got one more week. So we'll
one
talk
more
about
week.
something good, something fun.
Yeah, let's just do that. Come on back here.
Yeah, this one was
And
kind of like a history lesson and this, and I was like, okay, I didn't want to be too heavy, but it needed to be said, I think. So
right. So why don't you come back next week? Bring your questions.
yeah.
Just
Yeah,
bring
let's
some
do
questions.
that. Bring some questions. Well, we'll answer questions.
Right.
Instead of talking, we'll answer questions.
Yep. Get your questions answered and let's see where we're going in 2023.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you again for tuning in. This is bizchicks.net. You can become a part of the community. Just go to bizchicks.live. Click on the subscribe button. That gets you into the community. Easy to do. You'll get notifications when we go live. You'll get notifications about when we got things coming up, workshops and things of that nature. We just want to say thank you for being a part of the Bizchicks family. TJ from TJ and I, Dr. Tachi and Terry, we thank you because, you could spend your time somewhere else, but you were here with us today, watching live or on the replay. For that, we thank you, and we look forward to...
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Tomorrow, Coach Karen is in, so remember, it's okay to make money in your business, so go to the front of your own line. We will see you tomorrow and then on Friday for Coffee Tea. Well, no, Coffee Tea. Tech Life Weekly. Friday.
Yeah.
We'll have some more. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your week. See you on Friday. Bye-bye.